Washington's clear-thinking headquarters. The Morning Majority, 5 to 9 on 630 WMAL.
8:07 on WMAL. Good Tuesday morning to you in D.C. It's Brian Eban, Michael Steele from the RNC, Lieutenant Governor of Maryland in the House this morning.
Hey, we're ready.
We're jamming, we're rocking. Ted Nugent joins us now, the rock legend. Morning, Ted.
A fine spring morning to you, Brian and Michael.
Hey, what's up, Ted?
It's a great time to be an American.
Amen to that.
I was going to ask you, what was your reaction when you found out we got bin Laden, we killed him and shot him in the head?
Well, I was defying the law at the time. I had my cell phone on too early during approach as I was landed in Dallas.
Oh, man.
Because I was doing a covert operation myself. It's a little we the people thing I do on a daily basis. And I got a text from my buddy that says Obama is dead, and there I did it.
Yeah.
Osama is dead.
That's right. Join the crowd.
What everybody's done. And I stood up and I made an announcement on the plane to many cheers. So it was a great moment.
That's pretty cool. So
nice.
You stood up on the plane and everybody applauded?
Yeah, and everybody expected me to say something like that.
You're right. Well, I tell you, man, you said it right at the beginning. It is a great day to be an American when you think about what we've been able to do there. But we've got some challenges still ahead of us. What's your assessment of how this country moves forward? Particularly, we're gearing up for a presidential cycle, and you know the politics of Washington especially, but the presidency across the country. I even hear you may be running for president. We could talk about that a little bit. But what's your assessment going into this, Ted, at this point?
Well, I'm going to be 63 this year. I'm a father and a husband and a neighbor, and I'm a driving force in the quality of life for my kids and my grandkids and my neighbors and my employees and my bands and my crew and my bus drivers, my truck drivers, my guides, my outfitters, all the people I take hunting every year. So for those that aren't aware, the old Motor City Madman, the author of Wang Dang Sweet Poon, is solidly in the asset column of America. So I've become a political animal over the years because I'm convinced, you guys, as you guys celebrate here on the Morning Majority, we the people have a duty. We're duty-bound to participate in this sacred experiment of self-government. So I've always been active. I've always been engaged and involved, and it's constantly an educational process. I'm trying to update my information, and I get a lot of information because I got a lot of really gung-ho, very connected, very aggressive politicos out there that are friends of mine. My assessment is that, yeah, it's a great day to be an American, but there's 365 days in a year, and I'm sorry to say that the prognosis for those other 364 days isn't quite as celebratory as the killing of Osama bin Laden. The government is out of control. The government waste and corruption. The Eric Holders of the world that will not prosecute the Black Panthers who on film are breaking federal law, but he's going after some CIA agents that are following the orders of the commander-in-chief and have already been exonerated by the Department of Justice that he is now bastardized. I mean, I could go on and on. Let me get this right, honey. We're broke. We're in debt up to our ass. Let's go shopping. It's almost like it's Planet of the Apes or Punk'd. It's Planet of the Apes meets Punk'd. None of it makes sense. My kids, my wife, my family, my crew, my business associates, we are driven. My brothers, my sister, everybody I know, we're driven by this rare and endangered species called logic. We have to be accountable, and that our government refuses it. It's not that they stumble and are not accountable on occasion. Their entire mantra, their modus operandi for the last 20, 30 years has been not to be accountable, refusing to be accountable. That's why the Tea Party takes place, and that's why I'm on the phone with you this morning, because I think the November 2010 elections represented a battle cry that we're damn serious about taking this country back.
Well, and I have a particular affinity and association with that 2010 effort, given, what we tried to do when I was chairman of the RNC the last 2 years to kind of lay down that foundation, those markers that you've just talked about. The common sense attributes of the American people have long been misunderstood or downplayed or overlooked, largely by this administration and a lot of the folks here in town. And it was so refreshing to hear your voice and the voice of so many others out there articulate just what you just did, that, you know, we are a nation that are comprised not of institutions but of individuals who believe under this banner that we're all created to do great things within our own power, by our own means, not given to us by the government but by God.
Hello.
And it's an amazing testimony to hear, and it's really refreshing, quite frankly.
Well, it is. It's encouraging. It's very inspiring. And again, I'm a gregarious idiot. I travel all over the country. My wife and I and my kids were meeting in New York City. We're going to be doing the Howard Stern show and doing Piers Morgan on CNN. We're doing Mike Huckabee. We'll be doing MTV and VH1. I'll be doing interviews. It's always about the music, because my music is about my passion for life, and my passion for life is driven because I'm a free man in America whose rewards are based on my efforts and my demand of excellence of myself and the people around me.
Mm-hmm.
And that has to be articulated in the United States of America at any time is one of the great heartbreakers of all time. Most Americans still, I pray to God it's most, that only 45% of Americans are even employed, and that they've fallen slaves to this lie that there's a list. There's actually a list of jobs Americans aren't willing to do. Are you kidding me?
Right.
If my kids had the audacity to say, "I'm sorry, Dad, that job's not on the list I'm willing to do,"
right,
I'd cuff them upside the head and starve them for a week. My kids don't have that kind of soullessness. I don't know anybody who's that soulless.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anybody who's that wimpy and that incapable and that willfully enslaved and dependent. It's the Declaration of Independence, man. It's not the Declaration of Dependence. So I hear this stuff everywhere I go. I live in Texas at the different charities. My wife and I do charity work all the time for the military and for kids, and all these great, giving, hard-working Americans who are obviously the best of the best because they're giving to the real needy, children and military. They say the same things that you and I are rallying, the same things that the Tea Party are rallying about. Excellence. We've all got excellence within us, and the American dream is based on being the best that you can be, putting your heart and soul into being productive and creative, and doing it in English and legally. So what you and I consider to be common and sensible is extremely common and sensible across this land. Now, if we could just get politicians to implement it, like my good friend Rick Perry, the greatest governor in America. He shoots coyotes, by the way. What does yours do?
Yeah, right.
So,
shoot coyotes.
I think it's a great time.
It's like shooting my wallet. That's
right.